This is the story of the time I had this really strange situation happen. I had this horrible flood in my house, and it was under very unusual circumstances. And I was really left with like, what in the world? And so of course I came up with my own ideas of what was going on with that. So this is the story. So this was a few years ago, not that many years ago. Life was really crazy at this time. A lot of drama, I don't know, it was a crazy time. And in this particular set of weeks, we were having all these odd things happen to us, me and my kids. It was just certain weird things just kept popping up, and I was sending a lot of text messages to my friends like, this is what's just happened. So this is during that time. So I woke up in the middle of the night. I had one of my kids in bed with me, and in the middle of the night I heard this very strange sound. And I just laid there for a minute thinking, what is that, you know? And so I woke up finally, I got out of bed, turned on the light to find this giant bubble along my wall and a big squirt of water, you know, shooting out like a very tiny waterfall. I was like, oh my God, I turn on everything, I jump out of bed, or I was already out of bed, but I'm running all over the house trying to figure out where this water is coming from, because where it was along the wall, there was nothing that should have led it to water. So I was very confused, running all over the place. Finally, just like that, it just stops. It just stops. So I go back to bed and put the kids back to bed. Everyone's quiet. The next morning I wake up, still the floor is sopping wet. There's the major wall damage here. This is a picture of the big bubble along my wall. And so I called my landlord, I called a plumber, and he was coming out, and the landlord called like the insurance people, and they sent out a company that would sort of dry out the place, so, you know, mold and all that. So the first plumber comes and he has zero clue about what's caused this. He cannot figure it out either. And so I call another plumber, and this plumber is someone I ended up having knowing. He was a dad at the school my kids went to, so I reached out to him. He had this plumbing company, and we talked, and I was really honest with him when I told him the other plumber has no idea, and he said, well, what do you think? What do you think's going on? And I think that's how him and I finally bonded. Is I told him what I really thought, and I still kind of believe this, but I think we had a ghost in our house, and it was a child ghost. I had believed this before, and I think he was just messing about. You know, he was just being playful. He or she, I always call him a little boy, but I just feel like he was playing around and he was just up to mischief, you know? So because there was no explanation why there's this big flood. So, you know, he just kind of laughs like, you know, are you really serious? I said, yeah, I really am. He's like, okay, I believe you. And so he came out, and he also couldn't really determine what had caused this flood. It was really odd. So he did what he could to patch things up there. And then the water people came, the water repair people came to fix the house and get the water out of the carpet and out of the walls and everything. And they were kind of a bunch of knuckleheads, I have to say. All, you know, nothing against young guys, but they just seemed like they just, you know, applied and got this job. They had no experience. They didn't know what they were doing. Way too, honestly, flirty. And it was crazy. So one day, one of the days, this had went on for weeks, and I'm gonna put up a couple of the pictures of this room. Because it ended up being completely everything torn apart, the walls ripped up, this big enclosure was made with this plastic for this leak. It was insane. He came to me one day when he was coming to finish up the room, and he said, you know, I have to tell you that your bed looked so comfortable. I could not resist climbing inside. I nearly fell over and almost died. I was so grossed out that this guy had admitted that and had been in my bed. Disgusting, right? So, yuck. And, you know, of course I freaked out. I called a guy friend and he was like, you know, if he did that, he's probably doing other things. You know, you need to call this company and get him removed from that job. And if you don't, I am. That's, you know, bullshit. There's no way this is going on. And, you know, I have to say, of course we did call them, but this is like one of the hard parts about being, I think, a woman. And maybe men experience this too. I really don't know. But here's the thing. So yes, I definitely wanted this guy off the job. Of course I did. But you know, in the back of my head, I was really scared to call and say something because of him getting mad and doing something crazy. He knew where I lived. He knew that I was a single woman and with children, small children. And I was really scared. And I think that's one part about being a female that, you know, just isn't always in the back of your head, that you could be attacked or raped or hurt or murdered, all these things. And I'm sure men at times feel that way, but I think we have that more often, to be honest. And so I was very, very scared about that. But he ended up getting off the job and he didn't do anything. And it was really, but it was still horrible. And honest to God, I still think about that moment where he told me he was in my bed. I burned the sheets. I freaked out with my girlfriends and that was horrible. So on top of this horrible experience with water everywhere, my bedroom that I was like my sanctuary for my crazy life was, you know, torn to bits. I had that. So anyway, that is the story of that. My only thoughts to you are, you know, take care of those women, you know, just remember in the back of your head, we might be kind of scared. You know, sometimes it's hard to even say hello and be nice and courteous because that is mistaken for some reason that a simple hello means we want to hook up with you. You know, maybe sometimes it does, but you know, I wouldn't assume that. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment, share. Let me know, have you ever had any weird experience, especially like with the ghost? I believe in ghosts and spirits and angels. You know, I feel like I know that they're around me. Do you? Have you ever had an experience with a ghost? I am not afraid of ghosts or spirits or angels. I welcome the company. And this one, I particularly think, like I said, a little guy messing about, just having some fun. All right, thank you.